crochet tips. Today in this video I'm going to tell you how to crochet this beautiful braided puff stitch. So let's get started. So for this braided puff stitch you need any number of chains, but that should be even in number. So you can take any even number of chains. For the tutorial I have taken 22 number of chains. Okay, so for row 1, skip the very first chain and into the next place a single crochet. Keep on placing a single crochet into each and every chain till the end of this row. So once you have placed the single crochet stitches till the end of this row, now chain 1 and turn your work. Place a single crochet into the very same stitch. Okay, so here I have to show you something. If you want, then you can continue with the same color yarn, and if you want you can change your color also. So if you have to change the color of the yarn, then you can change in the very last single crochet stitch. So if you don't want, then you can continue with the same yarn, but for me I'll be changing yarn. So here I took my another color yarn, so and we'll complete the very last single crochet stitch this way. For row 2, chain 1 and turn your work. Place a single crochet into the same stitch. Now skip the next stitch and into the next I'm going to place a puff stitch. So to place the puff stitch, yarn over, slip your hook into the next stitch and pull off a loop. So repeat this 2 more times. So yarn over, slip your hook into the same stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, slip your hook into the same stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook and chain 1 to close the puff. So this is how the puff stitch is placed. So skip the next stitch and into the next place another puff stitch. So yarn over, slip your hook into the next stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, slip your hook into the same stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, slip your hook into the same stitch and pull off a loop. Once you've done it 3 times, then yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook and chain 1 to close your puff. So repeat the pattern till the end of the round of skipping the next stitch and placing a puff into the next. So skip the next and into the next place a puff stitch. So repeat this pattern till the end of this row. So here I have placed my last puff stitch and I am left with 2 more single crochet stitches. So skip the very next stitch and into the last stitch place a single crochet. So if you are continuing with the same yarn, then you can continue with that, but if you are changing color, then here you can change the color of your yarn without completing the single crochet. So here I grab my next yarn and complete my single crochet stitch. So grab the new yarn and place a chain 1 and turn your work. Place a single crochet into the same single crochet stitch. And chain 1. So now I am going to place the puff stitches in the skipped stitch of this row 1. So yarn over, slip your hook into the very past. Okay, so I think this is the very past skip stitch here. See, so yarn over, slip your hook into the skip stitch of row 1 and pull off a loop. So repeat this 2 more times to place the puff stitch. So yarn over, slip your hook into the same skip stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, slip your hook into the same stitch and pull off a loop. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook and chain 1 to close your puff. Now move to the second skip stitch here. So yarn over, slip your hook into the next skip stitch and pull off a loop. Repeat this 2 more times. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook and chain 1 to secure your puff. So repeat the same pattern till the end of this row, placing a puff stitch in each of the skipped stitches of row 1. single crochet stitch into the single crochet stitch. But don't complete your single crochet. Grab your next color yarn and complete your single crochet stitch. Now chain 1 and turn inward, and as I said, it's the next row is the repetition of row 5, and in row 5 we place a single crochet into the same stitch as usual we do in each and every row, placing a single crochet stitch into the same stitch. But in row 5 we are going to place a chain 1 after the single crochet stitch, and that's what we are going to skip in the next row or in the repetition of row 4. We are not going to make this chain 1 after the single crochet stitch, so skip the previous row completely and find the chain 1 space just before this white puff and place a puff stitch. And into the next space here, just before the white puff, the space just before the white puff, place a puff stitch. So it's here. And into the chain 1 space just before the next white puff, so it's here, place a puff stitch there too, and keep on repeating this pattern of placing a puff stitch into each and every chain 1 space of this white row. I hope you loved the tutorial of this beautiful braided puff stitch. So see you in my next video. Till then, goodbye.